So the time has come quicker than most have anticipated. Shedeur Sanders has been named the preseason starter for the Cleveland Browns to open up the preseason this Friday night against the Carolina Panthers, which I will be at and I'm very much so looking forward to. And we're going to do a deep dive into the whole situation. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your daily day take. I'm Dave with an I, not a Y. And this is your day take powered by Day Sports Network. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of things, let's go ahead and give a quick recap. Starting with the NFL draft this past offseason, Shedeur Sanders, who many actually had in their top 10, some way, somehow managed to fall to the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns and was actually the second quarterback drafted by the Cleveland Browns. The first was Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round. Now, why Shedeur Sanders fell, there's many assumptions and speculations around that, but nobody has, at least us amongst the spectators, we don't have the clear-cut answer as to why he fell. Some people were saying he interviewed bad. Some people were saying because of Dion. Some people were saying, all the owners kind of, we're talking amongst each other and say, hey, don't draft him. It's a lot going on. He definitely is not 5th round talent. I think, his film speaks for itself. He's better than 5th round. He's better than vast majority of the quarterbacks that were taken ahead of him, but that's another conversation for another day. Later on, after the draft, Cleveland Browns owner Jimmy Haslam came out and said that he initially did not want to pick Shedeur Sanders and that GM Andrew Berry did. So that was a choice made by GM Andrew Berry. And old Jimmy Boy was pretty much saying that, hey, that was on him. That wasn't me. I didn't want the kid, but he took him. So we're living with it. That's pretty much what he said. Shedeur, up until this point, received no first-team reps in camp. No snaps with the first-team offense all of camp up until this point. Which we'll get into. And after the first official depth chart came out by the Cleveland Browns, he was listed as the 4th quarterback. Now, Cleveland has 4 active quarterbacks, 5 in total with Deshaun Watson on IR, freaky Deshaun. They have Joe Flacco, who's the vet. They have Kenny Pickett, who they traded for in the offseason from my Philadelphia Eagles, go Birds. They drafted Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd round, and then they drafted Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round. And then just yesterday morning, they signed quarterback Tyler Huntley from former Baltimore Raven, former Miami Dolphin. They signed him to the squad as well. Now, fast forward to the preseason opener this Friday night against the Panthers. Like I said, I will be there. For those who don't know, I'm actually in Charlotte, North Carolina, a great city to be in, by the way, especially if you're in the entertainment or sports field or just in general. The market in Charlotte is really good. It is treating me well. But anyway, I will be at the game this Friday, and I'm very much so looking forward to it. There's a lot of buzz going around the city, man. I think it's going to be a lot of people there. Of course, the whole world is going to be watching. This will be one of the most highly anticipated, highly viewed preseason games of all time. The whole world is going to be watching Shedeur. Many are going to be rooting. Some are going to be rooting against. Me personally, I'm going to be rooting for him. I hope he does his thing. So for this preseason opener, he's listed the starter. And the reason why for that is, after listening to all the QBs besides Shedeur on the Browns roster that I listed, Joe Flacco, he's in, I don't know, maybe like his 12th, 13th season. Flacco's a vet. Vets don't play in the preseason. He's not taking a single preseason snap. So Flacco was out of the question as far as playing preseason snaps. Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel both nursing hamstring injuries. So neither of them will be risking it and playing in the preseason. And then Tyler Huntley, who they just signed yesterday at the time of this recording, it's too early for him to, get in the mix and try to play preseason games as well. And also Snoop, that's what he goes by. He has some years up under his belt as well. So if Dillon and Pickett don't come back at all, then I would see Tyler Huntley playing more. He might play Friday. Who knows? He might actually play Friday just because they're kind of lacking depth due to injuries and Flacco not playing in the preseason. So I don't know, but this video isn't about Tyler Huntley. This is about Shedeur. So with all of that being said, I can't wait for this, man. This is, like a big moment. This is a kid that has been under the microscope since high school football, playing in Texas, coached by his dad, Deion Sanders. He's faced scrutiny. He's been called arrogant, a showboat. He's always, kind of had some type of doubt against him. Not saying that people are saying he's a bust or can't play, but just, the fact that his dad is a NFL Hall of Famer and speaks highly of his sons and is very involved with his son's life and all that. Not everybody likes that. And me personally, I think that had something to do with him falling to the 5th round, but that's another video for another day. But anyway, my thoughts on this situation. I'm going to start off by saying God is undefeated. God is undefeated. This is a kid that since he was drafted, like I said, didn't receive any first team snaps with the Cleveland Browns first team offense, all of preseason, all of camp up until this point. Of course, he has to. The Browns are having a joint practice with the Panthers today and tomorrow before the preseason game. So since he's going to be starting, he has to now, get in the mix. But that's only 2 days to get snaps with the first team offense. That's not a lot, but I'm pretty sure he'll make the most of it. But I say God is undefeated because he's always questioned like, hey, how do you feel about not getting first team snaps? Or how do you feel about falling to the 5th round? Or how do you feel about a lot of people not liking your dad despite you being in the NFL? There's a lot of negativity thrown at him. And I love his responses on all of the press conferences following his practices in minicamp. He always says, listen, I'm blessed to be here. I'm going to make the most of what I have. Not too many people are able to say they were able to play in the NFL. So I'm blessed to be here. I don't care who the team is. I'm going to do what I have to do, and I'm going to stay positive. That's always been his message throughout camp with the press. And even when he was drafted, he had a big draft party the first night. Many people, including himself, including myself, thought he was going in the first round. He didn't go in the first round. Didn't go in the second, didn't go in the third, didn't go in the fourth, got picked in the 5th, and he streamed when he was drafted. And, just when he was drafted, it's the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns, who is a dumpster fire of an organization, of a sports organization, I think the worst of all time. Despite that, the dude was happy. He was positive even when he was drafted, him and his family. So he was never down the fact that he went to the 5th. He was never down that he went to the dumpster fire that is the Cleveland Browns. He was thankful and blessed to have the opportunity to play, and he always showed that energy throughout the draft, throughout camp thus far, and up to this point when he's been listed as the starter. And he always, says that he keeps God first. So that's why I say God is undefeated. If you don't believe in God, then you can say law of attraction, manifestation, whatever you want to say and whatever you want to call it. But God is undefeated. Now, as far as the actual situation, I think this is a win-win-lose situation for Shedeur. Here's why I say that. Dillon Gabriel was taken ahead of Shedeur in the draft. They traded for Kenny Pickett in the offseason. They have Joe Flacco. They obviously messed up with the whole Deshaun Watson situation. They clearly messed up with the Baker Mayfield situation. The Cleveland Browns is the worst sports organization probably ever of all time. They're absolutely disgraceful, but especially when it comes to quarterbacks. Now, with that being said, they can right their wrong here. If they put their pride and ego to the side, that's where the lose comes in. When I say win-win-lose, the lose comes in because say Shedeur goes out here, balls out, and the city likes him, the people like him, and from what we've seen of video clips, it looks like the team likes him. Looks like the vets on the team and his teammates like him. The organization knows this. The owner, Jimmy Haslam, knows this, despite admitting that he didn't even want to draft a kid initially. They know this. If Shedeur goes out and ball to the point where like, okay, we at least have to put him at backup, and at some point if it gets into the season, bada bing, bada boom, that's going to be tough for an owner that drafted, for an organization that drafted a QB ahead of him, that traded for a QB and Kenny Pickett. You add all these QBs, he's listed as 4th on the depth chart. They're going to have to put their pride and ego to the side if Shedeur goes out here and balls out against the first team defense of the Carolina Panthers. Now, I don't think they're going to start all 11 starters on defense, the Carolina Panthers, that is. But I think they're going to start some starters on defense, a good amount, more than half. This is a team that has a lot to prove. It's not like the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. We don't play our starters on offense, some on defense, the younger guys. But we don't have anything to prove. We got some guys that, we won a Super Bowl. We got some guys that we know can play, so we're not going to be quick to play everybody. Panthers, they're kind of still figuring themselves out. They're, new coach, a lot of new pieces, coordinators, players. a returning quarterback who kind of went through a roller coaster last year. So they're still figuring things out. I think they're going to play a good amount of players in the preseason. So say they play 70% of their starters on defense. If Shedeur goes out and cooks up against the first string defense of the Carolina Panthers, who, like I said, has 70% of their starters out, to the point where the league, the coaches, the players are like, hey, he should at least get a shot at backup, at least get some snaps with the first team. And by the time the season comes around, if he keeps cooking through the preseason, by the time the season comes around, he should get at least an opportunity. Then that's going to be tough for the owners to put their pride and ego to the side, because they drafted Dillon Gabriel before, right? Like, when you draft someone before and you trade, like, you typically want to put the higher draftee first, right? And I think because they drafted him so low, that's kind of like a scapegoat for them to say, hey, he's not ready, or we're not going to play him as quick because he was drafted in the fifth round. That's the lose situation. Now, the win-win are these two. The two, kind of contrary to what I just said, if he does go out and ball and the owners, GM, coaches are like, hey, he deserves to play, cool. He went from 4th on the first officially released depth chart. He went from 4th to starting in the preseason. If he goes off, I think they'll still put Flacco in week 1 at least. But say by week 3, Shedeur gets an opportunity. That's because he used this opportunity. He took the most advantage out of this current opportunity. He cooks, and they're like, hey, week 3, he showed off in the preseason. He's good enough to play. Or I don't think they'll start him out the gate at week 1, but if they do, it would remind me of like the Russell Wilson versus Matt Flynn situation. Remember when the Seahawks, they got Matt Flynn from the Packers and they gave him a good amount of money, but Russell Wilson came in as a rookie, and I mean, he was just a better QB, so they played him. Hopefully they play the best QB. I don't know if that's going to be Flacco, Pickett. I don't think it's going to be Dillon, Shedeur, whoever it is. They play the best QB. But if Shedeur shows in the preseason, throughout these game situations, throughout these games, throughout these joint practices, that he's the best quarterback, or at least the top 2 best quarterback, then that's going to be setting him up in a good position to actually get some playing time and eventually start for the Cleveland Browns in the regular season if he does his thing. And the second win situation is if he goes off, he cooks. All these tie together. He goes off and he cooks, and this ties back to that lose situation. If the owner and GMs, they're like, hey, listen, he did all right, but he didn't wow us enough to where he should start for us. We took Dillon Gabriel in the 3rd. We got Flacco. We still have Deshaun. We just picked up Tyler Huntley, who's started many NFL games, who played in the playoffs. If they take all those factors into consideration and still try to keep Shedeur down on the depth chart, and if Shedeur goes out in the preseason and cooks, then that will be good collateral for him to get traded to a team that could actually use him as a backup or a starter. I saw something, I forgot who said it. I think Nick Wright mentioned the LA Rams. Matt Stafford looks like he's dealing with some back issues going into the season. I mean, he's no rookie himself. So there's some teams that could use a quarterback or a backup. The New York Jets, who I actually would have liked to see draft Shedeur, because I know they got Justin Fields, but Justin Fields is improving. He started, yes, he's played games, but he's not proven. And from the sounds of it, he's doing kind of bad in camp. So imagine Shedeur with New York battling for that starting position with Justin Fields. That would have been dope. You know what I mean? So I think it was a lot of teams that could use Shedeur as a backup or starter. Obviously, New Orleans, I don't even know the guy. I'm not even really do my research. I don't even know the person they took ahead of Shedeur, the New Orleans Saints. But my theory is that they took him knowing he's the worst quarterback so that they could tank for Arch Manning. But that's another story for another day. So those are my thoughts. Win, lose. Win, he goes off. The Browns don't want to keep him, but he does so good in the preseason. The team picks him up and uses him as a starter or a backup. Win, he does good. The Browns organization uppers, the GM and the owner, they put their pride to the side, and he does so good that they let him be a backup or even starter by week 1 or at least week 3, 4, 5. Or lose, he does good, and the Browns owner, who didn't want him initially, and GM and all the uppers say, yeah, but we got all these guys. We didn't expect this, so, we're going to put him on the practice squad, or we're going to cut him, whatever it is. Or lose, second lose, Shedeur stinks it up. He could not do good. You know what I mean? I mean, he is a rookie. Like, we're kind of like, I'm going to put good energy out there. I think he'll do good. But he could go out there and do below average, throw some interceptions, not really, look good on drives, not look efficient, look rattled, but he hasn't shown someone that gives off rattled or nervous. I mean, like I said, he's been under the microscope damn near his whole career being Deion Sanders' son. So that's the lose. But win, lose, and lose if you want. Those are my thoughts. Now, my predictions on the game. I think he'll settle by the second drive. I think he'll find his groove by the second drive. I think he'll throw his first NFL touchdown on the second drive of his NFL debut in the preseason game against the Carolina Panthers. That's my prediction. I think he'll do very good. Hopefully he plays a lot because, like I said, I'm going to be at the game. So as long as he's playing, I'm going to stay and watch. Once it gets to the fourth and fifth strings, I might kind of bounce up out of there. But as long as he's playing, I'm going to watch. Very much so looking forward to this. I wanted to watch him in Colorado, never got the opportunity to, so this will kind of be a good thing for me to experience, if you would. So I'm looking forward to it, man. And I know this is about Shedeur, but I'm looking forward to those rookies over with the Carolina Panthers as well. Jimmy Horn, who actually played with Shedeur at Colorado, looking forward to see what he does. T-Mac, the rookie receiver out of Arizona, looking forward to see what he does. So I'm looking forward to this game, man. I think it's going to be a good turnout. Like I said, there's a lot of buzz around this game. I know everyone's going to be watching on their televisions, but being in Charlotte, it's a lot of people saying they're going to the game just based off of Shedeur. So I'm looking forward to it, man. Hopefully he does well, and hopefully he does well to the point where the Browns give him a shot or another team gives him an opportunity to win a starting position down the road, let's say early regular season. So that's my day take of the day. Shedeur Sanders is making his NFL debut. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all thoughts are as far as the situation that he's in, whether it's good, bad, neutral, and let me know your predictions, what you think he's going to do in the game. I'm Day with an I, not a Y. This is your Day Take powered by Day Sports Network. And let me say this, I'm going to follow up with a post-game reaction. So Friday night, I'm going to do a post-game reaction. It'll drop late. The game starts at 7. I'll probably drop it at like 11 p.m. or something like that. So stay tuned for that. Follow me on Instagram if you want to see some live footage that I'm going to record and put on my story. And I might actually record like a quick 60-second recap after the game as well and put that as like a reel. But I will be dropping one of these day takes, post-game reaction after the game Friday night and let y'all know what I saw. But until then, y'all be easy. We out. Peace. Make sure y'all like, follow, subscribe.